young women around the world claim to have had romantic relationships with beings from other planets, and that they even had several children with these aliens, which is a process that has always happened on our planet. In today's video, we're going to talk about this strange case and the theories that were created from it. Delicate matters. Well, if for many people just discussing the existence of UFOs and the probability of the presence of intelligent life in the universe is already a pretty taboo, then talking about the supposed love relationships between humans and beings from another planet will certainly be a subject even more delicate, right? Of course, if you believe in life and in the presence of intelligent beings among the human species who have the same emotional apparatus as we do, you must have already imagined this possibility of happening, right? Well, this subject certainly had a little boost in the movie Avatar by James Cameron, where a being ends up having his consciousness transferred to an alien body, allowing them to study that civilization, but ends up getting involved with a native and falling in love with her. Well guys, it so happens that as I said in the introduction, there are actually some cases of people around the world who claim to have had romantic relationships with beings from other planets. This during their visits to Earth. There is even a case of a woman who claims to have become pregnant by her lover, and another who lives with him on a daily basis. Abby Bella. The first case that I selected for this video today is that of Abby Bella. She's a young British woman who has tried for a long time to find the love of her life, among, of course, human beings. But when she got older and found her true love, she understood that the search was complicated precisely because he was not a human being. According to her, the young woman would have met this otherworldly love during an abduction, in which they ended up sharing their feelings there, and of course, fell in love, causing the visits to be repeated. According to the woman, her lover is an intelligent alien, very similar to us, but who came from a solar system that is located in the Andromeda Galaxy. When the news of her affair went viral on the internet, Abby Bella was called for some interviews, where she talked a little more about how their relationship works. The young woman said that from time to time, her alien lover returns to our planet and anxiously awaits the next meeting. According to Abby, she would have seen her lover a few times throughout her life and would always break up with her human boyfriends when he returned, since no one compares to the feelings she has for her lover from another galaxy, right? In this interview, she also gave more details about how these events happened, saying that she would have posted on her social media jokingly that she was tired of going out with earthly men, and that she wanted to be abducted to have a date with some alien. According to her, after that day, she began to have strange dreams until one of those nights she woke up in her spaceship, thus meeting the love of her life. When asked to present evidence of the alleged relationship, the young woman said that she had several photos with her alien boyfriend, but he requested her not to show these images since they could end up causing serious problems for the extraterrestrial. Guys, if he really is an intelligent being that has inserted himself into our culture to the point of being able to develop a complete relationship with a human being, he would certainly also know that we don't have the best impressions with possible aliens, huh? It really wouldn't be too difficult to imagine that different governments of the world would do anything to capture this alien creature and lock it in a secret base. Who knows? Maybe even Area 51. But we can't ignore the detail that this is also the best possible excuse for not having to show a photo that doesn't exist, because the alien boyfriend may in fact not exist. Because of this, after her story became popular, some people came to believe in the case, while others think she's crazy, or that she's just making up a story, right, to get the spotlight on her. There are also those who believe that this whole story is just a way for her to gain evidence, and also supposedly raise money, even because interviews are not often free. What about you? Have you ever heard of this case? Do you believe her story? Leave your opinion in the comments. Bridget Nielsen and Aluna Verse. Bridget Nielsen and Aluna Verse from Los Angeles, California, are two young women who are 27 and 23 years old respectively. Both are part of the hybrid baby community, a group that claims to be experts in providing medical care to women who have alien gravity, carrying hybrid children with them. The two project leaders, Bridget and Aluna, claim that each has gone through more than 13 pregnancies generated by artificial insemination and through relationships with beings visiting space. And they say they are not the only ones in this environment. No. According to the leaders, the alien fathers and mothers are a very advanced species that searches the universe for planets with civilizations populated with species with DNA extremely similar to theirs, from where they seek beings with perfect genetic compatibility, allowing terrible diseases that involve the simplest part there to be eradicated from the species more easily. In an interview, they said that there are hundreds of thousands of women all over the planet who are also mothers of hybrid beings, even if some of them are not even aware of it. According to its partners, the species that would do the process kind of doesn't tend to care much about human consent in the process, being something done only by a portion of the individuals who have more empathy with our species. Bridget also concludes by saying that children who are created in this way are taken back to their home planet, where they will have a life and will mix genetics with the entire perfect pool of that advanced species, which will bring their grandchildren to live among humans and over generations, as these hybrids will, eradicate diseases. As I said before, create a much superior DNA, and so on. Although this case brings a more detailed theory and even more convincing arguments, they also don't end up bringing concrete evidence, such as photos, or even the beings themselves on video or recorded in some way, which ends up raising many doubts in the people's minds. Also because, like the previous person, here we are also talking about young people who are promoted with the repercussions of the events on their social networks, bringing financial benefits to them. Who knows, maybe even consolidating careers and followers, right? In any case, there are also many people who believe in their story. In fact, this is perhaps one of the oldest theories in ufology. What about you? What do you believe about it? Zeus. When we talk about ancient mythologies, few gods had as much popularity and were as worshipped as Zeus. Zeus was the king of the Greek gods and ruler of Mount Olympus. He was the god of the sky, lightning, thunder, law, order, and justice. He was first worshipped by the Greeks, then by the Romans, who referred to him as Jupiter, and then by other people from many parts of the world. Although he is best known as the god of thunder, Zeus was the most important god among Greek religious beliefs, and he has many titles that emphasize different aspects of his authority. Along with your supreme power came a number of roles, as well as responsibilities. The Greek poet Hesiod describes Zeus as a god who brought peace instead of violence, and who referred to him as the Lord of Justice. Zeus was very powerful. In addition to controlling the weather and being god of lightning and thunder, Zeus had several other powers as well. He had the ability to imitate people's voices, as well as change his appearance by transforming into people or even animals. And that's where the case of Zeus is very similar to the story that, well, they told us, right? That's because, according to legends, Zeus used his power to change shapes in order to conquer beautiful women. And there were cases where he pretended to be their husbands and had children with these women. These children were hybrids between humans and gods known as demigods. Hercules would be an example of a son of Zeus who was raised that way. Yeah, you didn't know about this one, did you? Could the gods be aliens? Thus, if we are to believe the report of these young women, we can also be talking about the possible visit of a god like Zeus, who would be having a relationship with these women as told by their legends. Of course, it's worth pointing out here that it's a matter of mythology, isn't it? Some people believe, some people don't. But well, we can also infer that if their account is true, the very idea of Zeus could actually be an account of human beings in the past who had contact with the same species of extraterrestrial beings. Therefore, Zeus could be an extraterrestrial who ended up coming there, camouflaging himself as a person, having relationships and creating hybrids in a very ancient time. All mythology was about beings that actually inhabit other planets, other galaxies, and have their own forms of life intelligence, right? The story of alien lovers may actually be a case of encounters with supposed gods, or even, the two may represent versions and interpretations of the same being in different periods. Counterpoints. Even so, it is very difficult to imagine that something like this could be easily accomplished, right? Since even species with more than 99% combat sometimes cannot have hybrid children with each other. This is because mixing genetic materials, even if they are minimally different, tend to cause much more damage than success. Of course, you could argue and think of a solution for this. Maybe a simpler technology, or something we are not seeing in the right away. Maybe only those who travel in space would have this knowledge. However, even if this is true, the amount of resources needed to make such a gigantic journey is disproportionate to the benefits that this genetic crossing could bring in practice. At least, as far as we know, right? Maybe they are extremely intelligent beings, but need a physical form, and for that, they would use us. Well, who knows, right? Well, what's your theory on this case? Well guys, I'll see you in the next video then. A hug, be well, and until next time. Thanks.